Hello, this is Mark Wildman of Wildman Athletica, and today we are going to talk about the economics of the Adex Club. I just found out about the Adex Club maybe 5-6 months ago. Before that, I used RMAX clubs. RMAX clubs are fixed clubs that have a rubber overcoating over them. They've been the industry standard for club swinging for years. I don't know, I think I got my first RMAX club in maybe 06, 07. I bought myself a 25 because I thought I was super strong. I picked it up, I tried to do a mill, I hit myself in the head, I knocked myself on the ground, I bought myself a 15-pound club. And then I used a 15-pound club for 2 years. I was already a trainer at that point and a circus performer, and a 15-pound club was an excellent place for me to start. And let's talk about the economic breakdown of a couple of different major clubs on the market. RMAX clubs, the original, the best, and now the new competitor, Onnit. Onnit makes solid steel clubs. We don't have any here to demonstrate, but they are a solid steel club, either cast or milled out of a big chunk of iron. They look like old circus clubs, but they are made out of steel. RMAX clubs for the 5, the 10, the 15, the 20, and the 25, $54.95, $64.95, $74, $84, $94. That 5 cents doesn't really matter. So it's about $375 to get those 5 clubs. With Onnit, you can get the same weights for $205.76. What separates kind of RMAX clubs from Onnit clubs is RMAX clubs have a rubber coating, which allow you to set them down on hardwood floors or floors you don't want to damage without destroying the floor, which is a pretty big selling point for most people. Most people are using clubs to train outside of gyms, in homes, in places where they don't want to destroy the floor. I trained using my RMAX club just in an apartment for years in Los Angeles, and it was very important to not damage the floors because I didn't have enough money to pay for new floors in an apartment that I was renting. Onnit clubs are great for in gyms. They are solid steel, but they have a hard lip edge on them. If you set them down on a hardwood floor without being super gentle, your hardwood floor will notice. But Onnit is more marketing towards, say, CrossFit gyms. An extremely durable, all metal piece of equipment that you can stack in the corner, and gyms tend to have rubber floor mats in them all over the place, especially CrossFit gyms, so that they can drop weights on them, and you can drop Onnit weights on that or set them down less gently without destroying anything. That's the point. On RMAX clubs, the rubber overmold will eventually get weird. Not if they're kept in a good environment. If you leave them in the back of your truck and the sun hits them in the desert, they get kind of weird and goopy, and then they tend to melt to yoga mats and everything else, and you end up with a bunch of clubs that have a bunch of weird colors melted onto their surface, and they kind of start to smell weird. That's fine. I don't really care if my equipment gets used. I want to see if I can eventually break it. But that is something you have to think about with RMAX clubs. They are more delicate than other types of clubs. What we have now, what has come into the market recently, is the Adex club. The Adex club is a system, an adjustable club. It is a handle with separate weights that all screw on through a big threaded thing, and we have tons of videos on this. So you can make one club into several different weights. 10. Getting 10 weights will cost you $264, as opposed to getting 5 weights, which will cost you $375. So the economics are better. I have asked all the club companies for years to make in-between weights, something between a 10 and a 15. A 12.5, a 17.5, and a 22.5 would drastically change the way that club training is approached and the way it works. I never had access to those weights, so trainers like me had to figure out how to get really smart to train around the fact that there is no 30-pound club, there is no 40-pound club, and there is no 50-pound RMAX club. We had to get smarter to figure out how to train around this huge jump from 25 to 35. Doesn't seem like a lot of weight, but a club weighs exactly what it's supposed to when it is vertical. The further it gets away from vertical towards horizontal, the heavier it gets. That's why it's a big problem to go from 25 to 35 with a jump. There really should be a 27, a 30, a 32.5, and a 35 if you're going to try and use clubs for single hand work. which you should, because single hand work is super important for athletic development and balancing the left hand side of your body with the right hand side of your body. The lack of a 30-pound club has always been a problem. Nobody has made one, no matter how many times I've asked. Not On It, not Armax, really nobody made a good usable club. There are some bad clubs out there that are absolutely unusable because their geometry is totally terrible that are 30 pounds, but I haven't found a good one yet. I custom made my own 30-pound club, and a 40 and a 50 and a 55 and a 60 with Z Night FX in Hollywood, California. I just walked into the shop. I said, I need you to make something between the 25 and the 35. I took both of them in there. I dropped them off. 2 days later, I got this. It cost me $700. That is not economically feasible for most people. That is not a good economic decision for most people. It was a good decision for me because I was using these things to train for movies. I needed all the in-between weights in order to make the program work out effectively that I was running. You can get the 30-pound club and 8 other weights now for $200. So I'm a bit upset that I have spent all the money making clubs. A 30, a 40, a 50, a 55, and a 60. 5 clubs all costing me $600 to $700 each. Let's just say 5 times 6. That cost me $3,000, which is not cheap. You can now get an Adex add-on kit for $195, $200 versus the $3,000 I spent. Even if you're just gonna use it for the 30 and the 40, I spent $1,200 acquiring those weights. You can now get them both for $200. So the Adex is a good economic decision. For the amount of money you're gonna spend on the weights that you need, everybody who trains clubs really needs a 10, a 15, a 20, and a 25. Even if you were to just buy the 15, the 20, and the 25-pound Armax club, that cost is still basically equivalent with getting 10 weights from Adex in the exact same range that you need to use. And having the fill-in weights, 7.5, 12.5, 17.5, 22.5, is a huge benefit. I would have paid full price if Armax would have made those clubs. I would have happily bought dozens of them because they are fantastic, fantastic products. But nobody has made the products in between that you need in order to do club training for a long period of time, scientifically, always progressing without having to come up with all kinds of crazy trainer tricks to get around equipment that doesn't exist. The other thing is, I travel a lot. I travel around the world quite frequently. I travel for movies. I spend a lot of time in Europe. And normally I have to get a hard case and stack all these clubs in it. If you just add up 10 plus 15 is 25, plus 20 is 45, plus 25 is 60, plus 30 is now 80. Just for me to get a light training kit to travel with is twice as much weight as just having one of these clubs. I can break this thing down and put the whole thing in a Pelican case with the add-on kit and have the whole thing be one tiny box on wheels that I can wheel through an airport and that I can check in. It can be under the weight of an overweight bag. So a Pelican carry-on travel case, the whole thing will fit inside of that and you can check it on and it comes out. Instead of me dragging around huge rifle cases full of multiple clubs. It is a savings on money, it is a savings on space, and it is a savings on travelability. You could take just this 25-pound system right here, break it down, put it in a small hard case, throw it in the back of your vehicle for very little weight and travel it very easily with you wherever you go. That has always been one of the big points about clubbing. You get a lot of training benefit for a very small amount of weight. A 30-pound club is god-awful heavy, where one 30-pound dumbbell is not heavy at all. The amount of training you're going to get out of a 30-pound club is 1,000 times more than you will get out of one 30-pound dumbbell. We're always trying to make the best engineering equation we can with the equipment we're going to spend money on. Is it light? Can we travel? How much training are we going to get out of it? And then what is our fixed cost input? Adex clubs are solid steel. They're not going to go anywhere. It solves a ton of problems, and there's no way you can argue with the fact that it's more economically feasible than either of the other major options right now. I would love to see On It and Armax expand their club line But it's been 10 years and neither of them have expanded their club line. I really thought when On It came out that they were going to make a 30, a 40, and a 50, and they never did. And we waited. We don't have to wait anymore. We can get all the weights we need to do all the training. 50-pound Adex club will probably give you 5 years of training for $264 plus $195. Under $500 for 5 years of training, equipment that is small, compact, portable, fits in the back of your car, and can travel anywhere in the world. I don't know. It's an economically clear decision.